Hey guys, this is Kamil, and in this video I want to address the main issues of insomnia, the main causes of insomnia, so you will be able to fall asleep. I promise you that if you listen to what I'm gonna say and you implement it in your life, you will fall asleep. In fact, 90% of you will fall asleep tonight, and the rest of you will need to practice it for a bit longer, maybe a week or 2 weeks, and most of you will still fall asleep. For those of you who will not, don't worry, I will have more videos that will address the other remaining factors that are important. So let's start from the beginning. Falling asleep. It boils down to two things. One thing is your beliefs about your ability to falling asleep and what is falling asleep and your role in falling asleep. Two is actually your sleeping routine. How you sleep, how many hours, and what to do in certain emergencies in life, or whether you cannot fall asleep and what you do. So these are two main things, two main pillars, cornerstones or foundation stones, and I want you to get them. So listen carefully, because once you get them, you will fall asleep. So first one, your beliefs. First of all, you need to believe, you need to remember, because you did that before, you need to remember that you can fall asleep. It's your natural, innate ability that you have in your life. You are born with that. You are born with the ability to fall asleep. All of us, we have this ability. And it's not that somehow it goes away or we start suffering from this thing called insomnia or some disorders. There are no sleeping disorders as such. They're not built in our bodies. Science cannot find the difference between somebody who has just had good sleep and somebody who is tired. Apart from some brain activity, everything is the same. The blood is the same content of the blood, everything's happening in the same in the body. There is no difference. So there is no such a thing as a disorder as such. The disorder insomnia is the result of your bad beliefs and also your bad sleeping habits. So again, you need to believe that you can fall asleep. It's your natural ability. You don't need to train it. You don't need to exercise it. You don't need to force it. You just need to lie down and let the brain, the falling asleep mechanism, do its work. And it's only when you interfere with that mechanism, it's only then when you have problems falling asleep. And I have had the same, and I sorted it out. I let it go. I kept reminding myself about this, and now I go to sleep and I keep keep repeating to myself, okay, I can fall asleep. I don't even need to think about it. I don't need to force it. I don't need to worry about this. I don't need to worry about what's going to happen in the morning because it's irrelevant. I'm just going to fall asleep. I'm just going to let the brain do its work, the falling asleep mechanism do the work. So that's your main belief. So where does it leave us? It leaves us in this thing. Do not look for some external cure, like some magical pill or some other amazing cure for insomnia, like maybe ginseng or whatever you have found or somebody told you. It's not gonna work. It might help. I do not deny certain things do help falling asleep, and I will discuss it. But the main thing is built into you. The core, the filler, the foundation of falling asleep is the mechanism inside of you, and you just let it happen, and do not interfere with it. Do not interfere with it. Your body, your mind is designed in a brilliant way, and it self-regulates itself. You don't need to think about your heart beating, it just does it. You don't need to think about your brain working, it does it. All your organs, they do the work by themselves. You don't need to interfere with it. You don't need to instruct them. You don't need to learn any special skills to make those organs work. They work. Everything in your body is magnificent and it works perfectly. It has been working for years for you and for many other people. Okay, now another part of the belief. If you believe that your case is in any way special, different from somebody else, don't. Stop believing in that. Even if you have accumulated evidence of a long list of evidence and proof that your case is different because your family has been cursed by a shaman 300 years ago, or because you had some blood results and they're very different from other people, or because you read something in your book, or because your uncle told you a story and since that time you cannot fall asleep. Whatever that is, do not believe that. You are not any different. If you speak to people suffering from so-called insomnia, they will all have their own story and believing that they are different. But when they apply this method, they change the two main pillars, they suddenly start falling asleep and they realize they're not any different. So even by some I don't know how, but even if your case is somehow different, you're special, I still don't want you to believe in that because it's not helping you. So start believing that you are the same as everybody else. So you can fall asleep and you will fall asleep, and you will fall asleep every time and easily. That's what I want you to believe. So another thing, stop telling people that you suffer from insomnia. You can mention it if it's relevant. You know, like at work somebody's asking you, oh, why are you not productive? And you can say, well, I didn't have a good sleep, I very often have problems, so but I'm fine, you know. And end of the discussion. Do not complain about this, that you've had it for 20 or 30 years, that it has ruined your life. Forget about this. Don't talk about this and don't think about this. Whenever you start thinking about how bad your insomnia is, how it influenced your life, switch to some positive affirmations. So make a list of affirmations. My life is great and I'm in control of my sleep, or I'm going to get on top of the issue very soon. I'm having problems with insomnia, but I'm already on my way to overcome it and it's gonna happen soon. So replace your negative self-talk with a positive one. If you don't believe something, make it true. Like I just said, I am suffering from insomnia, or I have had sleeping problems, but it's not an issue. I'm gonna sort it out very soon. Something positive. So take your mind immediately into something positive. So if you have a lot of that negative talk, when you go to sleep at night, you will be worried about not falling asleep and not getting enough sleep. And that in itself will do what? That will keep you awake, right? So you need to find a way around this. Affirmations. I can fall asleep easily. I don't even need to think about this. I don't need to worry about this. Second thing, don't worry about this, because whatever is going to happen in the morning, it's going to happen. You have no influence on it. If it's a good day, it's brilliant. If it's not a good day, well, it's good anyway. Don't worry about those things, yeah? Okay, so your beliefs. What are the beliefs you need to have? So let's recap your beliefs. So beliefs that you are the main source and the power of falling asleep. There are no magical cures. There are no other magical golden bullets that will help you fall asleep. And you have the power, and you need to stop thinking about not being able to fall asleep. And don't talk about this, okay? So, beliefs. Your beliefs will dictate your actions as well. Now, you might, due to your beliefs, you might have anxiety generally in your life because of other things. And when you go to sleep, when you go to bed, you might be thinking about those things. So you need to address those issues as well. And there are many ways to address emotional issues. Address them. So when you go to sleep, you will be actually relaxed. Another thing, do not think that you need a pill, you need alcohol or anything else, some relaxation methods to put you to sleep. Because what it does, it's completely counterproductive, because you move your power, you shift your power and responsibility from you to those things. And therefore you reinforce the belief that you cannot fall asleep by yourself. Yeah, so shift the power back, and then you can have a glass of wine because it helps, you know. It's okay to have a glass of wine before you go to sleep to help you, or to have a pill, but it's not okay to think that this is going to make you fall asleep. This is only going to help your internal mechanism. So shift those beliefs and get the power back. I am responsible for my life. My body is perfect, working in harmony. It's been designed perfectly. My heart has been beating all my life, and so my falling asleep mechanism is fine as well. So start shifting that belief. Now, for many of you, you might need to watch this video again to get those beliefs again. Okay, so do watch the video again. Right, beliefs. So let's put the beliefs on the side and let's address the other issue, the other pillar, the other foundation stone, which is your sleeping patterns and your policies. What happens in emergency? You know, what do you do in emergency? So, sleeping. Do not stay in bed for longer than it's necessary. And you know how long you need to be in bed, how long you need to really sleep to feel all right. And for some of you it will be 5 hours, for some 7, for some 8, for some people 9 hours. Typically, if you need more than 9 hours, I would examine that, and because there's something not right with it. I should imagine that you should be able to be okay with anything between 7 and 9 hours. Plus minus. So you figure it out, and it might differ from 9 to 9 by night to night by half an hour, but 7 to 9 hours, let's say, somewhere there. So when you have been sleeping for 7 or 9 hours, get out of bed. Now, if you haven't had enough sleep because you couldn't sleep, that is fine. Still get out of bed, you know, and that's important. If you are unemployed, self-employed, or in any other way you have control over when you can get up, do not stay in bed longer than a certain time. So if you go to sleep at 11 p.m., 9 a.m. is the latest you need to get up. It's very simple. If you, towards the end of the night, haven't been up long enough, haven't been working hard, you are not tired, you will not fall asleep. It's so simple. You will not fall asleep if you're not tired. So make sure that you get up and stay awake the whole day and do actually something, maybe do some exercises. If you spend the day sitting looking at the monitor most of your day, have a routine. Every every half an hour or every hour, do some simple exercises. Or once a day, go and do half an hour running, swimming, or something. Do some physical work, and the harder the better, because then you're tired, and when you're tired, it's what? It's really easy to fall asleep. Much easier than when you obviously are not tired completely, and you're also complaining about not having enough sleep, and then you're worried and you're stressed. You're not gonna fall asleep. But you will fall asleep if you do what I'm telling you. Another thing, if you go to bed and you find yourself not being able to fall asleep for, let's say, 20 minutes, roughly, do not look at the watch, because that's pointless exercise. 15 to 20 minutes, you can't fall asleep, you feel that you're not really going to fall asleep, get up! Get up, don't stay in bed. Stay in bed only if you want to sleep or you want to make love. Or cuddle somebody, you know, and have some good time. But do not spend any time in bed when you can't fall asleep. Jump out, do something. Now, how long should you be doing something? Roughly half an hour. Not 15 minutes, that's a bit too short. Not 1 hour, that's a bit too long. Half an hour. So in advance, make yourself a list of tasks that you would like to accomplish while you cannot fall asleep. And when you get out of bed, you can then have a look at the list. Yeah, I was going to do the cleaning of this or do this. Now, this is important. Those tasks cannot be too strenuous, so you do not exercise yourself too much. They need to be kind of in between. They cannot be mentally engaging too much either, because that will wake you up even more. It must be something that's easy, doesn't take a lot of focus, but nevertheless takes some effort. Somewhere in between. And don't worry about the balance, you will find it somewhere in the middle. You know exactly what it should be, and as you're doing the task, you will see if you're waking up or falling asleep. If you're falling asleep, brilliant. If you're waking up, maybe you need to slow down or change the task. Anyway, so that's what you need to do. When you cannot sleep, get out of bed. Another thing, if I mentioned that before, you had a long night, you didn't really sleep, don't stay in bed, jump out. Avoid naps. If you need a nap, make sure that you set yourself an alarm, or you do it sitting when you are likely to wake up very soon, or wake up at the perfect moment when you've had the nap long enough. Yes, so don't go back to bed, have a nap of 2 hours, and then again you're surprised that you can't fall asleep. Yeah, so don't do that. It's really important. Discipline. And another thing, if you have some things to plan in life, do not plan your life around your insomnia problem. So don't plan your holidays or going to parties or seeing friends or going to cinema around the problem of not being able to sleep, because again you reinforce the belief that you have no control over it, and you become obsessed, and it's crazy, you know. So if friends invite you to a cinema, say, yeah, no problem, let's go. Don't say, oh, but I need to be home before 11 or before 12 because otherwise I won't fall asleep, or I will have problems with falling asleep. Even if you do, doesn't matter. Do not let your life be run by your problems with falling asleep, because you again reinforce the belief that you have no control over it, and you feel even more disempowered. It's like, oh my God. And really, it's not helping you. So don't do it. It's very important. I know you understand it and you're gonna follow it. So let's recap. The beliefs and your sleeping patterns, your policies, what to do when you have problems falling asleep or when you want to sleep. Another thing is, kind of obvious, make sure that you go to sleep and get up more or less at the same time. Again, don't be crazy about this. You don't need to look at the watch every time up to a minute, but roughly within half an hour bracket, go to sleep at this time, get up at the other time. At that time that you that you have planned already. So have a routine. That's very, very important. If you, on the other hand, if you sometimes need to, change that because things happen in life, again, don't worry. So what? But if you go to sleep a bit later, make sure that you don't sleep too long either, make sure that you still, so if you always get up at 9, make sure that you get up around 9, not at 11 just because you went to sleep a bit late. Well, you can do, but I would encourage you to actually have the discipline and get up a bit earlier. Then you can have a half an hour nap during the day to catch up with sleep. Now remember that you only get a good sleep when you have deep sleep, when you fall into the phase of deep sleep, and it happens a few times during the night. So if your sleep is interrupted, it's not going to happen. So that's why sleeping pills often do not work, and they make you feel really, really bad the next day because they actually don't put you in the right state. They knock you out, but your brain doesn't actually go into the right state of mind, to the right deep sleep. And that's the problems with the pills. You've been in bed for 8-9 hours and you wake up, but you don't feel good, you still feel bad, So the only thing they do is they kill the time and again reinforce the belief in you that you are hopeless, that you can't help it. Okay, so now these are the two most important things: your beliefs and your routines. Now, the other things are kind of obvious. If you drink coffee late, then obviously that will affect your ability to fall asleep. It doesn't mean that you won't fall asleep. So if you have 2 espressos or cappuccino, don't think that you can't fall asleep. You still can fall asleep, but it will be a little bit more difficult. Again, don't think that you need a pill or a glass of wine to fall asleep. They help, but you don't need them. If you don't do exercise during the day, for example, don't think that you won't fall asleep. You will fall asleep, but it will be a little bit more difficult, and so on and so on. Obvious things, but the pillars of you falling asleep are inside of you, inside your brain, your mind. It's there, and I want you to get it, because once you get it, that the power is within you, you will find a way to fall asleep. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but you will find a way. And it's really simple. Once you find a way, it's really simple and you'll get it. Now I'm going to prepare more videos, and there will be one hypnosis video when I will be actually talking to you in a very, very calm way and putting the messages to your subconscious mind so you can fall asleep. So watch out, come to my channel more often. It's Kamil's View. That's the channel, and look for the hypnosis videos. I have some, but now I'm going to make another one even better. And also I'm going to make a second video where I will discuss some other important things about falling asleep. For those of you who still have problems falling asleep, even after watching this video and implementing those things. There will be very few of you, but I'm gonna make that video. So also come to my channel more often. It's easiest if you subscribe, then you will see the video in the feed. Now, the last thing I want to tell you is a relaxation technique. It's good to have a relaxation technique, and you need to find your own favorite relaxation technique. And whether this is Tai Chi, standing meditation, whether this is some listening to some chill out music, or binaural beats, or someone talking to you, the guided meditation, or whatever that is, you need to find it. But remember, sometimes those things will take a week or 2 of listening to them or practicing them every day before they will start kicking in. And the other thing is, sometimes they might work for a week and then they will stop working. So do not think that they are bad. Somehow you develop resistance toward them. So switch and then come back to them maybe 2 weeks later. So never give up on your relaxation techniques, and remember there will always be a night every now and then in the life of every human when you, I, we won't be able to fall asleep. So don't panic because you can't fall asleep one night. Again, get up, do some activities, you already have the list prepared of what you need to do, and that's it. Well, one wasted night and then a day, next day you're not gonna feel great, but so what? It's just one day out of life, you know, once a year, or once, even if it's once a month, it's not a big deal, and even if it's once a week, you can still survive it and have a happy life. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos. Remember to like it and subscribe and share the video with others, because you will need to watch this video more often and talk with your friends about this as well, because the more you talk about this method, the more you support each other. If you have other friends and you support each other in doing those things that I've told you, then the easier it will be for you to fall asleep. Also, the things that I've told you have been based quite a lot on a book called Effortless Sleep by Sasha Stevens. It's a lady called Sasha Stevens. Link to the book is under the video. In the I think I'm gonna put it in the annotations, and also under the video straight link. It's a great book, not expensive. So I do recommend that you get that book because it's brilliant. It helped me a lot, and when I put the data together from the book, the knowledge with my own experience, it clicked and I could fall asleep straight away, same night, and that same thing is gonna happen to you after watching this video. So thanks again for watching and for sharing this video with others. See you in the next video. Take care.